Yoga really stresses the idea of self-reliance. You know, when I was traveling throughout India for about 15 years, finding the oldest and most grand masters of yoga, they were all very self-reliant people. I actually met some of them who were very old, and if you wanted to hold their elbow as they were walking, they would ask you not to do that until they needed your help. Self-reliance is a big foundation of yoga. The theory is, don't burden other people until you really need the help. But we shouldn't mistake this topic from driving away your loved ones and not asking for love and affection. It's a separate thing. So you want to stay open, keep your heart open. Self-reliance means you have a clear vision of your own power, your own capabilities, and because you have strong personal boundaries yourself, you have an inner life, you have a personal boundary, you're also careful not to violate other people's boundaries. People who have a strong inner life and respect a personal boundary are typically sensitive about other people's boundaries. And these types of people, the self-reliant people, don't want to just go out to people all the time and ask for help, because they're respectful of other people's boundaries. Actually, self-reliance comes from self-respect. Some people think that if you're very self-reliant, you're self-abusing yourself. And it's not at all that. Self-reliance is very quiet, very non-assuming. You have a center within you. You understand your own capabilities and powers, and therefore you stand on your own feet. So it's based on self-love and self-respect, and also respecting other people's boundaries. I would say that self-reliance is a muscle like faith, courage. You know, if you think about faith, courage, trust, these are all muscles that you're building day to day. Mahatma Gandhi didn't come into the world courageous. He was actually a very scared character. The first time he went to a courtroom as a lawyer, he ran out of the courtroom. That's how nervous he was. So his courage was built over time. There's some elements in your life that are built on a day-to-day basis if you flex those muscles. One is trust in yourself. Second is faith. Faith in something unknown, some force that runs this world. That faith you have to build on a daily basis as you try it out. Another one is courage. Fourth one is self-reliance. In self-reliance, you take a decision, you practice trusting your decision, and then when the good results come out, you trust in your self-reliance even more. So you can start with small baby steps, try decision making, trusting your decision, waiting for good results, and then feeding your self-reliance. You do that day to day until the muscle builds. Self-reliance is mental, emotional, spiritual certainty that what you have in you is able to manage your life and even more. It's an attitude, really, and it comes from a quiet place within. It's a very private thing. Nobody's going to applaud you for self-reliance because it's your private decision to be self-reliant. There are three things that you should be wary of as you're developing self-reliance. Number one, people who love you a lot, like a sister, and they love you so much that they're looking out for you. And they're doing it out of the kindness of their heart. Except if you get used to, let's say, an older sister looking out for you, subconsciously you might start feeling disempowered. So some things to be wary of. When there are people who love you a lot, see if you can teach them to manage their protective instinct of you, because they may be disempowering you. Another thing to be wary of is social media. I'm sure the founders of Facebook did not intend this, but when you see a very fancy person holding a birthday party in their fancy home for the young son, then you might slip into envy. And envy destroys self-reliance, because envy is an insult to your soul. Every soul is created uniquely. If you're short, if you're tall, if you're African American, Chinese, you've got your uniqueness. When you go on Facebook or Instagram and start envying other people's lives, that is very, very hurtful to your soul. And so on social media, you should be careful that you don't slip into envy mode, because there are millions of people who are using social media to show off their private lives and gather followers. I've seen this, so you should not fall into that trap. So first caution, people who love you too much, they may disempower you. Number two, social media and envy. Number three, don't follow the masses. What I mean is, in order to build self-reliance, you must nourish your uniqueness. How are you unique amongst 5 other sisters? How are you unique in your neighborhood? How are you unique in the world? If you're a painter and you have a group exhibition with 4 other painters, how are you unique? This is the opposite of conformity. So conformity will weaken your sense of self-reliance. Self-reliance is about self-respect. It is not about rejecting kindness. You do accept kindness, but you recognize your own inner power and capabilities, and you adopt an attitude of standing on your own feet. That's what self-reliance is. God bless, and we'll talk soon.